Okay, this is Diesel with the People News. Thought this is interesting. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't care to be an attorney. So there is no legal advice here. I may throw out opinion, but it's opinion only. I never look straight forward. I always look around me, be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Alright? This is a learning video. This one was kind of a strange one too, because this has to do with I have a problem with, and I've seen on a couple of other ones. He keeps detaining kids with and without attorneys. Alright? And they're in jail. Okay? They're in the detention center or whatever you want to call it. Now, that is not being detained. Okay? That is conviction. Alright? Each and every time he holds them in detainment, he's made a judgment and said, hey, there's enough evidence here that I'm going to judge you to keep you from freedom, whether it's right or wrong. And I still had to go with, this is wrong because you're innocent until proven guilty. So he believes that they may be bad for society. However, if you didn't truly be convicted, how can your freedom be taken away? Now, the original intent of a warrant in the first place, not a search warrant, but a warrant, is issued for you to go to court. Nowadays, they call it a subpoena. But the original intent in the Constitution is to issue a warrant to tell you to come to court. This is a common law thing, not a civil law. We've been so wrapped around civil law, right? If you don't show up for your court, then they will track you down and bring you in, and then you would be detained or whatever until the next judge is available, especially back in the old days, because judges jumped around everywhere. Right? You did not have one in every town. And so you would probably have to sit in a deal. Well, and then if you left a jurisdiction, the sheriffs couldn't go after them. Well, that's where bounty hunters came from, right? They can leave from one place to another, and they didn't really have a jurisdiction. They can just run everywhere. Apparently nowadays, you had to have each and every state a license, but it didn't used to be that way. But the original intent of a warrant was not for you to sit in jail. It was for you to go to court and settle the matter. Okay? And the bond was more along the lines as for judges and government officials, they had to put up their land for collateral just in case they was operating in bad behavior. Alright? Nowadays they got a piece of paper saying a bond is $1,000. Well, that's not near enough. And, back in the old days, you had to be owner of a property to be able to be any type of government officials. And yet we have all these people making payments on houses, and constitutionally speaking, y'all, as long as they don't own land, they're not even supposed to be in office. Alright, getting out of hand. So the issue is, my part here, is the attorney, and I do not understand why most attorneys just sit there and watch.
Hi, Maurice. I'm Judge Kim. When your child's brought to our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days to decide whether to keep you here to release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. We have appointed Ms. Taylor as your attorney. She's unable to make it, so Mr. Lofton, I'm going to ask you to substitute in.
Yes, ma'am.
looks like you got arrested for assault of family violence, so your probation got extended. And while you're on probation, you are smoking marijuana. So yesterday you were brought in, you issued a warrant.
Let's talk about that for a minute. This judge cannot stand anybody being on marijuana. But you know, our founding father, Washington, our first president, actually grew marijuana. He had a farm, farming marijuana. And he would turn over in his grave today knowing that this marijuana stuff is actually illegal. Now, I can't say I'm for or against. The only way I can do this in a proper way is, does any government officials have any right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your own body? And that would be no. You can make all the excuses in the world, but nobody has a right to tell you what you can and cannot do to your body. Period.
A week ago, on September 17th, there was an administrative hearing with you and your mom to address you leaving the house without permission, not coming back until late. We talked about you not responding to our probation officers or your mom's messages when you run out of the house. You left the administrative hearing for about 20 minutes and came back. On September 20th, Mom said that you left home about 10:15, returned at about 11. So your probation officer submitted a report to the court about putting an electronic monitor on you. So Judge Porter decided electronic monitor doesn't really matter, just issued a warrant for you. Yes, sir. So September 22nd, a week ago, let's see, Fort Worth officer was assigned to Central High School in Keller ISD as a school resource officer, was called to assist with an argument between you and a teacher. When the police officer got there, he was told that you threatened the teacher, interviewed the victim, and said the victim and 3 other female students were outside his classroom conducting class in the hallway for better Wi-Fi reception. Victim teacher said that he witnessed you walking the hallways, and as you approached one of the female students to grab her Gatorade drink, the teacher asked you to pull up your pants because your underwear was showing. You began verbally belligerent at the teacher, made verbal threats. Some of the threats toward the teacher were relayed as, "I swear on my grandmother and grandfather's grave that I will kill you," or, "I am going to find out who you are and I am going to kill you and your family," or, "I am from a gang," or, "Where I am from, we kill people like you." The victim teacher felt fear for his life, family's life. He believes you're capable of carrying out the threats. He also said you tried to spit at him. He was able to move away from the spit. Second teacher witnessed the incident, assisted by getting in between you and the teacher, said that he heard you shout obscenities at the teacher, included, "I'll fucking kill you," "One phone call and you're dead tonight," and "I swear on my dead cousin that I'll kill your bitch ass." Excuse me. So, excuse me. Services.
Hey, sir, this is Trent Lofton. I'm here to represent you a little bit today. We just need to listen for a second. I'll get a chance to talk to you. Ms. Taylor will too. Okay, sir? I said, let's listen to the court right now. We'll talk to you afterwards, or I'll get Ms. Taylor too also. I'm Trent Lofton. I've been appointed for you today. So let's,
I was trying to tell you the story wasn't right.
That's okay.
I'm not trying to hear your story.
Yeah. We'll get a chance to have our due day in court. This is just a detention hearing. So, okay, sir?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your courtesy. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So,
Now, listen to that for a second. So this is just a detention hearing, all right? Now, why can't you even argue the case why you even in detention? Period. And why is that attorney just sitting there and saying, well, we're going to have our day in court. You may just go ahead and stay in detention. Wink, wink. Stay in jail until court day. When clearly this guy wants to get out of jail. Now, why can't we get out of jail? But he's just sitting there basically saying, well, we'll just listen to what the judge is and we'll get with you later. Well, why aren't you actually sitting there, Mr. Lawyer, and actually help him get out of detention?
Currently in TCAP, you were disapproved by FFT. You successfully completed electronic monitor. Well, so who's covering for Kevin?
Your Honor, I am Joy Hall.
Okay. How was he only on electronic monitor for 10 days?
That was during when he was pending court, so once he got out of court, then he came off the monitor.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you. That was only done when?
While he was pending court, he was on the monitor, and then when he came off.
Okay. Failed to comply with families in transition, and you were ordered 240 hours community service and done none. That's since November 2020. So, Maurice, when you say that you're gonna go back and kill the teacher, I believe you. And so I'm going to detain you because I certainly...
Wait a minute. So on record, the judge says, when you say you're going to go back and kill the teacher, I believe you. He didn't make these claims. The teachers did. So how is he holding him for something he said and did not say? On record, anyway, at this point in time. Again, it's opinion.
don't want harm on our good educators here in Tarrant County. I've made my decision. If you have a question for me, I don't mind answering your question, but I don't want you to tell me anything, because this isn't a trial. This is not about whether you did it or not. This is simply about whether you should be detained or released. Yes, sir. So do you have any questions for me? Yes, sir. Okay, what's your question? I know that you said, okay, I know that you said... I know I'm question. I know I'm finna... What? I'm finna ask a question. You're fixing to ask me a question? Yeah, I'm about to ask you a question. You're gonna ask me a question? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You wanna ask me a question? Yes, sir. Okay, you can ask me a question. Okay, I was just wondering, if that's not, I was just wondering, it's not a question. You know what a question is, sir? I was saying if you can find it in your, I was seeing if it's not a question. All right, what is your question? If you can find it here, or today too. If I can find it, so let me explain what the question is. Maybe if you weren't walking in the hallways trying to figure it, that you'd know what a question is. The question starts with who, what, when, where, how, why. It was after school. Well, you said who, where, when, where, how. Wait, can you? I was asking. I was finna ask. I'm not looking at you to ask me a question. You can ask me a question. Now the thing is, if you have a question, it will start with who, what, when, where, how, why. If it doesn't start with those words, it's not a question. Wait. When would you find it in your heart to release me on the electric monitor? It's not about my heart. It's about I believe the report. When you make multiple statements that you're going to kill somebody, I'm not going to let you go. Besides that, you've already been adjudicated for a felony.
Okay, what factual evidence that be true? Your Honor. And this is what the judge or the attorney should be telling him. What factual evidence that report is true?
So I don't have to let you go.
mean, I know, I understand it, sir. I was just like saying, well, the story didn't even like right. The story didn't break. I was just saying, I know you don't carry with her, but
Maurice, let's take a step back.
I'm not finished.
No, sir. You're being courteous to me. Let's take a step back for a second, okay? We'll talk to you in a little bit, okay? This is just a detention. I promise you will have your day in court. I promise you will have good defense. I promise you that, sir. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I promise you have your day in court. I promise you're going to have a good defense. However, I promise I'm not going to get you out of detention. That's the underlying word. That attorney is not helping him one single bit about getting out of detention, which is what we call in grown-up lives bond. Alright? That's my opinion. But I'm thinking that's the same way, but this case is a little bit different with minor sons and daughters. But the attorney is just letting the judge decide everything without some type of, not so much of a rebuttal, but so much as a remedy. Alright? What can we do about getting him released? You know, he's just sitting there letting the judge decide he's going to stay in probation, and the attorney's going to just wait in court. He's not even trying to get him out of a detention center. So what's the sense of even having an attorney there?
Let's be on that.
Well, Judge Kim, I did good on the electric monitor. Like when he put me on, when Judge Porter put me on the electric monitor back in, I think that was.
This is not a question, Maurice. If you're asking me if I'm going to release you, I'm not going to release you. Okay? If you have a question about something else, I'll answer the question, but I'm not going to release you. Not given what I've seen here for the police report.
I mean, sir, like, I'm not a threat or a danger.
Okay. I'm telling you, I'm deciding. Unfortunately, Maurice, in this discussion, I'm the one that makes that decision. Okay? For the safety of the community, I'm not going to release you based on what the police report has relayed to me, is that you are a threat to the community. I'm not going to release you. You've also, even if you weren't, you've been adjudicated for a felony. Right? You haven't done a single community service hour.
I swear to God, I have did community service. I don't think she look back at it, I did community service.
Okay, so let's say you did all of them. You've still been adjudicated for a felony and you're here on a new offense.
What felony? Could you tell me?
No, give me the. What's your probation for?
It was for families, violence or something.
Okay, misdemeanor for terroristic threat. All right.
Okay, felony and misdemeanor. Big difference in the court's eyes, right? Why did that attorney not catch that? Why did he have to ask the judge what felony? And that judge or that attorney just sat there and absolutely did not do it or even bring it up whatsoever. I don't want him as my attorney.
And I promise to God, I won't burn you or nothing. Like, I just
have to mention that you're smoking weed while you're on probation too.
Sir?
You're smoking weed while you're on probation too.
And I swear to God, I'm not lying out. That was an good pub bar. I thought that's what, I swear to God, I'm not. That's what it was one of those little bars. It wasn't a blunt. It was one of those.
But this is not, you don't want to talk about you.
Please. No, sir. Don't say anything.
All right, sir.
Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
No, the prosecutor's listening, okay, sir? Trust me. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Judge Kim, it's like it wasn't even a felony. Could you? No, I'm not saying nothing else. But I think it wasn't a felony. I was just wondering, could you release me on a month?
I agree with that attorney. He did bring it up about, don't give out information, all right? But again, the attorney just sat there, and the one time he talks about anything, just basically says, "Don't say a word. We'll have our day in court. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and let you sit here and be detained."
Because I mean, it wasn't a feeling. I did community service hours.
I could, but I'm not going to. Maurice, this is what you don't understand. I told you I made my decision. Like, nothing you say is going to change my mind. I'm detaining you.
Okay, so we're gonna go back with him asking, "Could we put me on a monitor?" And the judge says, "Well, I could, but I'm not going to." But how come the attorney didn't ask this question for him, right? Isn't that what he's there for?
To explain to me, how come?
Because I feel like you're a danger to the community.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Could you explain to me how am I a danger to the community?
Because you made threats that you're in a gang, that if you pick up a phone, you'll have the teacher killed.
Okay, this is where the part is where that attorney needs to go. Your Honor, objection. That's just hearsay, speculation, no facts. Yeah, and the judge will probably well, maybe, but it's my opinion, and I don't feel safe, which is fine and dandy. But there should have been an objection right there, because he's going by a piece of paper. Now, is there an affidavit of facts? A complaint from the victim on paper filing against him? Or is the state of Texas intervening and making them guilty because they caused harm to the state of Texas? Because the state of Texas has interest in this, which is money.
You'll shoot him, you'll kill him. Yeah. Where you're from? Yeah, all that stuff.
That's all, I don't have no previous cases like that at all. Like where I've anything to.
So you want a cookie? Like, am I supposed to reward you for that?
No, I'm just I never like.
Okay.
And then the story isn't even correct, sir.
You not understand this? I'm telling you, I've made up my mind. Nothing you say will change my mind.
Man,
I've made my decision.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lofton.
Judge Kim,
you dismissed, sir.
Yes, Miss Hall.
the probation
Thank you, Your Honor, for not hearing me out about trying to get my client out of detention. Let me sit here in peace and quiet where I'm going to plead the fifth and let my client run off with the mouth in front of the district attorney, because I'm not going to inject to nothing. Or, yeah.
The department would like to request permission to get a psychological evaluation completed so we can staff Lori's for further services.
Are you Dad?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Stepdad.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm his stepdad.
Your stepdad, all right. Does your son have any mental health issues?
I don't think he has mental health issues.
Okay, now, so why, again, is the state bringing up mental issues? Now, this young man here, I don't know if he has a stuttering problem, but when you're nervous and in a state of confusion, you're going to hesitate on certain words. Hell, I hesitate on YouTube all the time. Now, imagine if I get in court and hesitate.
Tom, why do you want the psychological? Like, I don't want to order it just to order it. Like, let's give me a reason.
His mother reported to that he has been diagnosed with some mental health issues, and there's a lot of assaultive behavior going on in the home, and also because he's on this administration, he would like to possibly look to see if placement might be an option, or if we can provide services in the community.
Or you're kind of breaking up. I'm sorry, Miss Hall. I don't think it's you. I think it's your microphone. Or what?
His mother has reported that he does have some mental health issues, and he has assaultive and aggressive behavior at home. So we would like to see what treatment recommendations if we can meet his needs in the community, or if we need to look at placement.
Placement for what?
To address his assaultive and aggressive behavior.
Hold off on that. I don't want to get that started yet. It may be, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Ms. Hall, but right now we're ordering way too many psychologicals and it's causing a backlog back there. So I don't want to order it unless somebody can really just solidly identify why we need it. So, all right, thank you. All right, next round, Angel.
So, Judge, do you think you know when you he listening?
Just call for the next young man.
He's listening.
Mr. Johnson, I'll have Ms. Taylor call you in a little bit, okay, sir? We'll talk to you about everything. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
After all, I'm such a good attorney that I never object to any of these things that the judge was accusing you for, or try to fight for you to be able to be released of any sort of way or fashion. That's only because I'm a good attorney. So we're going to just have you sit in there, and we'll call you later and let you know how long you're going to sit in this jail until court. Okay, so he's gone. These are We the People News. My question is, why is this attorney not doing any type of injections on this? I object because this judge is going by this paperwork. But I would also call. Now, is there any affidavit of, I can't remember what it's called, affidavit of complaint, right? Has any of these victims actually filed one? Is it in the record? If I was attorney, it's because, well, I haven't found it in the record of any complaints. Well, you know, you're an attorney, you know that the state of Texas can pick this up any given time, so that's what the state of Texas did. So when did the state of Texas become a victim? When is these the other people? So who's this man or woman, Mr. and Mrs. State of Texas, that's filing these complaints without filing complaints? Anyway, Diesel for We the People News. Bye, y'all.